My name is Maurice Molyneux, and I am a former employee of Namco in a couple of different divisions. And we are here today to have a quick look at the unboxing of a new book. I have been looking forward to getting this for quite a while, several years actually, because I'm involved with one of the authors who I know well. And I've received this, but I have opened it not at all except to loosen the tape. So we will cut the label right here at the Waka Waka. And we'll see what's inside here. You can see Cook & Becker is the publisher. And here we have Pac-Man Birth of an Icon, the collector's edition. And here's a little personalized note from the authors. It says, "Hi Maurice, thanks for lending your expertise and insights to this Pac-Man book. We really leaned on your tech knowledge and first-hand experience for context and clarification. Makes a huge difference to have Pac-Man's uncle helping us tell the history of the game and the character. Thanks again and hope to see you soon. Tim Lapatino, Arjan Terpstra." So, as you can see, here's the book. It's quite a hefty piece of work. This is not a tiny thing. So, let's move the box out of the way, and we'll have a look here. We're going to shrink wrap. It's a slip cover, so you can see the cutout and the book inside. So now we have to open this in such a way as to not actually nick the book. So I'll take a knife here and very carefully cut the plastic at the bottom. It's a very beautiful presentation. And let's just pull it out of the cover here. It's ready to eat. Anyway. So, as you can see, the cover here on this edition even has the kill screen graphics here. If you know anything about Pac-Man, that it crashes and burns at level 256. Here's the other side. And as you can see inside, there is the book proper and a little something extra. So let's see what we got in here. All right. So there's the cover of the book proper. I love Pac-Man. And there's a very nice little package here. Classic photo of someone playing Pac-Man back in the day, a Pac-Man Fever record, and a token of their esteem. All right, so let's take a quick look at the Pac-Man Fever record. The official reissue. And if we look inside, let's see what we got here. We have a old school 45 sleeve. And inside we have a beautiful yellow record with the ghost or ghost monsters in their normal state and in what we used to call at Namco the timid state. All right, so look forward to popping that onto a turntable here soon. All right, so let's look at the book proper here. Now, my history with Pac-Man, and I'll tell you this real quick while we go through this very quickly, is that I was hired at Namco America, Incorporated in 2004. I was the first producer there for the new or then new mobile division of the company. Let me prop this book up a little bit so we can not get glare on it. And we'll just use the box itself. There we go. And so one of my jobs, or actually my main job initially, was to be able to prove to Japan and our parent company that we could handle porting these games by ourselves without having to send builds to Japan. So as such, I had to become a real expert on this game. And I had to know it inside out. And a year into that job, I actually met Toru Iwatani-san, the creator of Pac-Man. And here's our table of contents. And I had a very lovely evening at dinner with him, having sushi and sashimi and drinking way too much sake and getting rather drunk and asking him all about the secrets of the game. And some of those things are here in this book. Actually, many of those things are here in this book. I was actually consulted about this book by Tim Lapatino. Here's the very earliest Namco logo, the horse. Horsey rides. And there's a nice history of Namco in here. Now, I was interviewed for this book, and then I was sent text to read. So I've read this before, even though I've never seen it. And I'm sure there have been some changes since my feedback. But I have to give this book credit for having done an amazing job in terms of its research and its accuracy, especially as regards the game history and the gameplay. There's Kaicho Mr. Nakamura with Nolan Bushnell from Atari. Nakamura, for those of you who don't know, Namco stands for, or stood for, Namco, stood for Nakamura Manufacturing Company. And here's pre-Pac-Man arcade games, GB, and so forth. And of course, Pac-Man was originally called Puck-Man. And I'm not going to show you every page of this book. It's given about the history. Here's about the story about how Pac-Man got designed and whether or not it was truly inspired by a pizza. Sketches for the ghosts. Other things that are similar is the design for the ghosts. And this is the original design sketches for this. And I know this because I've seen these before because Iwatani sent me the design documents for Pac-Man. And I've seen some of this before. So for instance, what you see here, these two frames are a ghost being caught in a shutter. And a shutter was originally part of the maze design. And it would trap the ghosts or Pac-Man and pin them for a few seconds. So you see his eyeballs going back and forth. This was a feature that was dropped in the final game. So as you can see, there is a lot of detail in this book. And some of these images I've never seen before. You see design documents and concepts and this maze layout that is not the final one. You can see there are 3 kinds of dots here. You can see the graphics expressed here as code. And here's actual code. And here's marketing art and logos and so forth. And here's another part of the game design. And then this section is about the game hitting the market and so forth and so on. And you can see, this is a beautiful book. It's beautifully done. And this is my first time looking at it. I can tell you already, just flipping through the portion I've done, that this is gorgeous. I know Tim Lapatino, one of the co-authors, from his book Art of Atari, which is similarly fabulous, and you should have it. Yeah, so this looks like an absolutely amazing read. And even though I have read a draft version, I'm going to be reading this sucker end to end to make sure there are things I didn't miss that might have been added. And, you know, as we can see here, we're going through the whole history of Pac-Man, profits and everything. And then we're going to get over here and we get to the history of how the sequels came about. In this instance, we are the Pac family. And the history, and I can tell here from seeing Missile Super Attack, this is going to get into GCC, who were the ones who created the conversion kit that turned Pac-Man into Ms. Pac-Man. And here you can see a graphic done with a light bright that they were using for testing the graphics. And the whole story of why that's in here is, I'm sure, explained in detail. And you can see here, we're going to go, here's more about Ms. Pac-Man, the development of it. And then you can see that it jumps on to other sequels and modifications like Pac-Man Plus, which was an upgrade done by Namco, Super Pac-Man, which I have a lot of opinions on. I think it's a fun game. I don't think it's like one of the best Pac-Man games. Professor Pac-Man, which was an oddball one. And a game that most people don't know, Pac and Pal, aka Pac-Man and Chomp Chomp, which has a really interesting idea and a really interesting, how should we say, complication in terms of this character, Pal, who's also Chomp Chomp in the American release that never was released. And it's an interesting idea that doesn't quite come off because it's following some of the problems with Super Pac-Man, which I'll detail at some point. Anyway, got Pac-Man Fever, which is all about the just how crazy people went for Pac-Man. Pac-Man clothing, underwear, everything, knockoffs, and merchandise, and so forth and so on. And like I said, I'm going to keep this short. I don't want to show you every page of the book because you should go buy it. And some crazy marketing art that was done at Atari. This is like the most terrifying version of the ghosts I've ever seen in my life. Packaging art for the Atari 2600 version. Pac-Man being made fun of on the cover of Mad Magazine. Ronald Reagan playing Pac-Man. And Pac merch. And on and on and on. Legacy and Evolution. Oops. Losing the support here. All right, let's go back to there and do a few final page flips. There we go. And then we have much of what's important to anybody who does research and this kind of thing. Endnotes, sources. And then a Pac-Man Gameology. All the different games that were made. And there are many. Image credits, acknowledgements. And here are the authors. This is my friend Tim, who I met because of his Art of Atari book. And this is Arjan, who I have not yet had the pleasure of meeting. And a Pac-Man's Game Study Manual. Now, this was written by Iwatani-san, I believe. Yes, because I had the Japanese edition of this, and they have had it translated into English. So there you go. And this is something I had to have a coworker translate this for me. So there's going to be tons and tons of insights into this. If you are interested in old video games, classic video games, and particularly this video game, this is the book you have to have, and I'm looking forward to reading it.